And we are live. Good morning, people. We have a highly consequential show for you today, and we're going to do it a little different. This is such an important issue. We're going to big picture this. Um, and while we do it, I want to go ahead and start the roundtable from minute one. We've got all the time in the world. It's Sunday. Nobody's looking to go anywhere else. We've got till the football games start, folks. We did. So this is a complex, big picture issue that we're dealing with right now. So let's not just have me blow through it all, and then at the end, y'all try to remember what your questions were, and we'll do a roundtable at the end. I want those questions coming throughout the show, and I will try to hit those questions as much as possible while we're going. So look, go ahead, grab your cup of coffee, and I hope your coffee's as good as mine this morning. Grab your pen and paper, and let's do this. Okay, folks, let's talk about what's going on right now today. And per your request, I blew up my my cursor so y'all can track it easier on the screen. That's why we've got the big cursor there. If it's not big enough for you, let me know. I'll go through and change it. MSC, the world's largest shipping carrier, joins shipping giants Hapag-Lloyd and Maersk in Red Sea travel pause amid attacks. That is what's going on today. It is another issue that is, it's something we can't take in isolation because of why it's happening, who's doing it, and what the big picture results are. Marcia, thanks for the support. I appreciate you being here. To understand just how big this is, we've actually got to go back in history a little bit. Before we do that, let me give you an idea why the largest shipping companies in the world have just stopped shipping through the Red Sea. This is why. And this is why. And this is why. And that's just a taste, just a sampling, just a sampling of what's been going on in the Red Sea. We're going to go to the map. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to explain all of this. But before we do, we need to put it in context. This, folks, is the Silk Road. You remember it from high school. It's one of the things they just touch on. But to be honest with you, they don't give you a good enough explanation of what's going on today regarding this. They just talk about it in the context of history. This is the historic Silk Road. I want you to take a look. You had a land road that went through Persia. It all led to the Mediterranean. The Silk Road was never dominated by one empire. The Silk Road was always world mega empires working in conglomeration with each other for trade. That is what made the Silk Road such a massive economic engine throughout our history. And it did go on throughout our history. Well, they teach it in school. You think it's something that happened in ancient history and then just went away. It has never gone away. The red line you see there on top, that faded away. That trade route faded away because the regions became too unstable. It was too difficult to manage. We didn't have those big, massive empires that we once had that could strong arm their way through these areas. But the blue line you see, the blue line, that shipping never stopped. And it continues on to this day. September bosses, and it keeps on and on and on, and it will keep on tomorrow. Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will all benefit from this Silk Road. Now, there's part of it that I want you to look at, and that is here. This is the Red Sea, where my cursor is at right now. This is where shipping has been cut today. And it's been cut by terrorists known as Houthis. And we're going to get a little bit more into that here in a minute, but this is the area we're focusing on right now this morning. We're going to tie it into a much bigger picture. You see Ukraine up here, China here. There are events happening throughout the world right now today, and they all tie in to what is happening right now. And I know you're, trying to get where I'm going here, what I'm laying down. And what I'm telling you is historically, just historians in general have this horrible habit. If you're into history, you've seen this a million times. Events will happen, and historians will talk about them. A perfect example, Pearl Harbor, Japan attacking us. If you listen to a historian, they always say, well, of course. Well, of course. That's the phrase that I want you to pay attention to. Well, of course, Japan attacked us. Look at what was going on in the world. America and its economy post-World War II was absolutely booming. We were dominating the oil market because of the way the oil market was structured at the time. The agreements and arrangements we had made as our economy exploded after World War II because Europe's economy, their abilities to their manufacturing sectors were all devastated. And Japan prior to World War II, coming out of World War I, prior to World War II, their manufacturing base was exploding also. Their problem was natural resources. We were controlling the oil. And historians will tell you, of course, Japan attacked the United States. It was just simple math. If they were going to continue to grow, they needed us to back off our stranglehold on the world's oil supply. But at the time, folks didn't see it. Industrialists don't look big picture. They just don't. And that's not the only example. There are other examples. Going into World War II, what started World War II? Historians will tell you, but of course, what happened with Germany happened. Well, of course it did. Of course it did. Look what happened after World War I. Look at how Europe punished Germany so severely. It crippled its economy. Its people were suffering. Of course, they followed a strong man. And of course, they followed anybody that could promise them economic prosperity. And of course, that's what led to World War II. Very few people, while it happened, you've got to give us a credit there. After World War I, America was one of the only countries that said, don't do this to Germany. Don't do this. I get it. I get why you're angry, but don't do this. This is not going to have good long-term repercussions. This is too harsh. So the historians all say, well, of course. But those repercussions that came out of World War II were for a reason. The Austro-Hungarian Empire got together with the Ottoman Turks, and they put a stranglehold on the Silk Road. That was really where the punishment came from. The real deep-seated anger came from. It didn't get spelled out that way, but all of the people that really hold power, the old moneyed families of Europe, wanted to punish the hell out of Germany, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the Ottoman Turks. Just marginalized Turkey into nothing, marginalized Germany into nothing because they interrupted the Silk Road. That's what they did. Some of the biggest fighting in World War I had to do with the Suez and that area. That's what brought us this guy. I've talked about him before. Lawrence of Arabia. Great movie. You should go back and watch it. That was all World War I. And the Ottoman Turks' stranglehold on the Silk Road in that shipping. That was really the basis of it, folks. Their stranglehold over oil, their stranglehold over shipping. And of course, that's not really Lawrence of Arabia. I've told you this before, but Peter O'Toole looks much more handsome than the actual. This was a real guy, folks. This isn't just a movie. This is a real guy. This really happened. And it really happened over the Silk Road. This is actually the actual Lawrence of Arabia. So yeah, what I'm talking to you about, folks, this is really, really important. Historically, over and over and over again, what is happening today is happening in the past, and it always leads to massive war. And it has roots, parts of which are isolationism. The Trump administration here in the United States did massive damage throughout the world. Their isolationism and capitulation to Putin is having repercussions to this day. And like I said, I really want to just pull this all together into a big package so that you can understand what I'm seeing. When I watch events unfolding, I don't take them as isolated events. I take them as what's going on in the world and what is this all part of? And you can't underestimate the value, folks. I mean, this trade through the Silk Road there, I mean, it brought us everything. I mean, everything that you consider the good things in life. You'll remember this wallpaper. You've seen this wallpaper. The silk hand-painted wallpaper came out of our trade on the Silk Road. Every plantation, every wealthy English estate all had silk wallpaper. Silk hand-painted wallpaper. That's where the Silk Road gets its name, is the silk, but it was far from the only thing that got traded on the Silk Road. I mean, just about every spice you love today came to us via the Silk Road. All of it. I mean, just about everything you love today came to us from the Silk Road. I got a list here of just some of the major spices that originated out of the Silk Road: turmeric, cinnamon, cumin, coriander, mustard, fennel, pepper. Most of your pepper, almost all of your pepper seeds variants, all came to us via the Silk Road. Tea, horses, camels, honey, and of course silk, and the one that doesn't get talked about enough, people. People were a huge part of the trade on the Silk Road. A lot of our history, a lot of who we are today. I'll give you an example. These characteristics, they talk about Ukrainian and Russian women and how beautiful they are. These Ukrainian and Russian women, those gorgeous eyes that they have, those greenish, hazel eyes, and those beautiful cheekbones, and just how gorgeous these people are. And of course, yes, opium, absolutely opium. But to give you an idea how impactful the Silk Road is, this woman is not Ukrainian. This woman is not Ukrainian. This woman is Uyghur. That's from Western China. But you recognize those features, don't you? You recognize those features. So yeah, people were a big part of the trade. And as the audience pointed out, opium. It's been a massive part of our history. And Putin has made a massive miscalculation. Just a massive miscalculation. See, let's go to the map. Putin's been working in Africa for a while. Putin's been supporting Iran and their drone development programs. He's been supporting the Houthis, Hamas, the Palestinian terrorist organization, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the Lebanese terrorist organizations, and Syrian terrorist organizations, Hezbollah. Russia's become a terrorist state. They use these organizations for proxy wars. But Russia is also all over Africa. Russia, and you remember me talking about what was going on with Prigozhin in the Wagner group. And after Prigozhin's uprising, everybody's like, well, he's a dead man. I'm like, not for a while. And it took a bit. Not till Putin got control over what Wagner was doing in Africa. And as soon as he did, he propped up Prigozhin's son to take Prigozhin's place. He's just a puppet of Putin to run the Wagner group. Where Wagner is in Africa is here in Mali. They're in Algeria. They're in Libya and Sudan and Central African Republic. They are raping these countries for minerals. They're raping these countries for oil. That's what Wagner is doing there. They prop up warlords, and then they steal the resources. That's what Russia does. Counter that with us. Like when we went into Iraq, everybody says, well, you're just there to take the oil. Well, no, we didn't. It was Chinese companies that got the oil contracts in Iraq. It's very different. It makes us look weak that we are not imperial. To these warlords on the ground, Russia looks strong to them because they're willing to be brutal. They're willing to steal these resources. And, to be honest with you, it's a problem. It's a problem. But it's one that we can win through diplomacy. We can. I don't want to get sidetracked, and I don't want to lose the plot. This is the area that we're talking about. You see Somalia here. You know, you've heard about the Somalian pirates are always a problem. Any shipping that goes up through the Suez Canal, this is the Suez Canal, and out the port of Alexandria, into the Mediterranean and on to Europe. The Silk Road has to go through the Red Sea. Putin has been working with Sudan to establish a base here on the Red Sea. But here's the problem, folks. And this is important because we're going to talk about Iran here in a little bit also. Here's the problem. Everybody's trying to avoid that hot war. Russia does not want a war with Europe, all of Europe, and it definitely doesn't want a war with us. Thank you for the support, Faye. Thank you. So rather than using its influence in Sudan on the western edge of the Red Sea, they have been working with Iran to prop up the Houthis. And the Houthis started out as a rebel faction that rolled south into Yemen and took the capital of Sana'a. Let's go back to the map. I hate to be such a small aspect of this, but what's going on? But let's just go back to the map. It's important that you know where we're talking about. This is Yemen. The Houthis came out of the mountains in northern Yemen and took the capital of Sana'a. The Saudis, supporting the government of Yemen, brutally cracked down on the Houthis. Brutally. This has been going on for years, folks. It's just been massive war. Everybody saw this coming. Putin's plan here in supporting the Houthis via Iran is right here, Persia, the heart of the old Silk Road land road. Iran has been supporting the Houthis. Iran also supports Hamas, by the way. They've been interfering and attacking shipping going through the Red Sea. This is Putin's plan. You're welcome, Denise. This is what I do. This is what I do. I wish I could tell you that this was special, but this is how I spend my time. Following this stuff. This is what I do. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate the support. Putin's influence in Africa relies on this strongman image. Putin's control in Iran relies on the very ignorant dream that Iran has that their alliance with Russia will allow them to grow to be some sort of leader in the Muslim world. They envision this Persian empire. Remember, they're not Arabic, folks. The Iranians are Persian. They have this vision of domination of the Middle East. And the problem is the Iranians are very, very dumb, very, very short-sighted, very, very bad at world politics because they are deeply, deeply ingrained. Their politics is deeply, deeply ingrained with religion. They're addled by religion. It makes it very difficult for them to see big picture, the actual trade aspect of all of this. But Russia desperately wants to avoid a hot war. So everybody's fighting with proxies. And I want you to take a look at just this is a straight up and down axis. This is the Red Sea where we're talking about here. Russia's here in Sudan. Eritrea is kind of iffy on the fence between the West and Europe and Russia. They're Djibouti. I love saying Djibouti. Djibouti absolutely is on our side because Djibouti is an oil nation. They are an oil nation. Somalia, you've had a warlord prop himself up over Somalia. You know, Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down, all of that. You've seen all the history there. That's why the pirates come out of Somalia. But let's back off for a second. Look at this axis. Eastern Ukraine, straight down through the Red Sea. Rolls right down through Gaza, straight into the Red Sea. There's a reason for this, folks, and I want you to think back. Let me pull that image back up of the Silk Road. Putin has cleaved the Silk Road in half. He's desperate. Eastern Ukraine, straight down. He has cleaved this in half. He is trying to sell to Turkey. And again, this is another issue that, you would look at normally in the news in and of itself. But look at the Turkey issue right here. This is Turkey. This is Turkey. This is Ukraine. This is the Red Sea. They're trying to use their sphere of influence to cleave the Silk Road in half, to exert influence over Europe, to tire Europe out. Why? Why is Putin gambling? Why is he doing this? Why is he risking it all? Because this is a last desperate shot, risk it all kind of move. Why is he doing it? Because Russia is collapsing economically. Folks, people were screaming like gut-shot hogs here in the United States over 4% inflation. It's now 3%. Way to go, Joe. Russia not only has an economy that's in the tank, that is solely a war economy right now, but its inflation was 11% last year and rising quickly. So, folks, yeah, this is a desperate move by Putin. But it's not one we didn't see coming. MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, and Maersk are some of the largest shipping companies in the world. They have seen this coming. The politics of this, I assure you, Anthony Blinken hasn't slept for a month dealing with this. This is something that's been cooking. The news organizations are just coming to it and just sharing it with you. This has been happening in real time and intensifying over the last month. Anthony Blinken has been doing, the Secretary of the Navy, I assure you, hasn't slept in a month. Our response to this is not going to be something that they just saw the news on CNN and decided to respond to it. And MSC, the world's largest shipping company, has been working to get around what is going on in the Red Sea. Folks, what Russia's had been hoping for is to cause Europe's economies to stumble. Go back to the map for a second. Had been hoping to cause Europe's economies to stumble. They haven't been doing as well as we have, folks. They really haven't. Europe's coming out of this. 2024 was looking to be a really good year for Europe. But, their economy hasn't been raging quite as hot as ours has. Peter Campbell says, Putin is playing a game of global chicken. Who will blink? We need to stand strong together. I'm getting there. It's not a matter of blinking. It's a matter, there will be war over this. That's the kind of move I'm telling you Putin just played. And Iran was stupid enough to go along with him. There will be war over this. There will be combat in Yemen over this. Because of this, folks, let's go to the map. Now, you remember the Silk Road shipping from that image. It followed this route. All the goods that are manufactured in China, all the goods that are manufactured in Vietnam, all Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, all get sent to Europe through the Gulf of Aden, through the Red Sea, through the Suez Canal, through the Mediterranean, and up to the ports of Rotterdam, Antwerp, Hamburg, up to Norway, Finland, etc. That's the route it takes. Now, because MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, and Maersk out of Sweden have decided it's too dangerous to go into the Gulf of Aden, too dangerous to go in to the Red Sea, they're going to have to shin their ships down all the way down into the Antarctic and travel the entire distance of the Atlantic Ocean. Which, believe me, the waters of the Atlantic Ocean are far more dangerous than the waters of the Mediterranean are. It adds both time and an element of danger to the trip that isn't normally there. Folks, the blue bloods are not going to allow this. They are not. You know, the right-wing racists try to sell this cabal. They call it globalism. It's globalism. And they try to blame Jews all the time because there's only 15 million Jews and they can't fight back. The truth is there are very, very wealthy families, very wealthy organizations in this world that influence our politics. They do. They have forever. They always will. You know, we study the emperors. We don't study the families that were behind the emperors, pushing them to do the things that they do. Lauren Teixeira, welcome to the show. Thank you for the support. Okay. And I know it's a big picture thing, and I know there's a lot that we're talking about. So please, any questions that you have, please let's talk about it as we go. I don't want to lose the plot anywhere. The goal of Putin in this is to demoralize Europe. That's what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to break Europe's support of Ukraine. Europe understands. They've seen this before. They know what happens if they don't support Ukraine. They're not doing it. They've helped us with sanctions against Russia. Russia is crumbling. What do they have left besides this? They had hoped to ignite a regional war in this area by getting Hamas to attack Israel. And you heard me talk about this before. And folks, I don't hate the Palestinians. I never have hated the Palestinians. I've spent decades supporting the Palestinians. If you had asked me on October 6th about the Palestinians, I would have told you this. The Arabs screw the Palestinians. The Israelis screw the Palestinians. The terrorist organizations screw the Palestinians. They all use the Palestinians. The Israelis use them for labor. The Arabs use them for labor, but they treat them all like second-class citizens. They do the same things to the Kurdish people. They brutalize them. Kuwait literally ejected its entire Palestinian population. Boom. Just did it, and nobody said a word. You know, I was by myself screaming about that. Unpopular because the Palestinians were on the wrong side of the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. They supported the Baathists. They supported Saddam. And me over here looking like a dumbass saying, you know what? all the Palestinians are getting kicked out of Kuwait. This is a humanitarian crisis. Fell on deaf ears. But October 7th, I saw something. I don't look at these issues as isolated. I look at them as big picture. What's going on in the world? Yes, so Jordan absolutely treats its Palestinians as second-class citizens. They do. When I saw October 7th, I asked myself, why? Why? This has been 2 years of basically uninterrupted ceasefire, just a few skirmishes here and there, but nothing serious. Gaza has been economically growing. Their population is growing. Everything was moving forward for everybody. Why? This had to serve someone's purposes. Then I saw the Russian troll farms activate on October 7th. And the misinformation that was going out and being flooded into the Western fear. And I said, aha, I get it. I see what's happening here. Russia is trying to start a regional conflict. They're collapsing in Ukraine and they're trying to start a regional conflict. And they failed. They failed. Thank you for the support, Marjorie. Thank you. The dude of SoCal, I really appreciate it. I do. You keep the lights on, you keep the subscriptions going, you pay for the software, you pay for the storage, you pay for the equipment. I'm truly grateful. Dude of SoCal says Marco Polo's adventure and Christopher Columbus's discovery of America were both expeditions to get footholds on the Silk Road trade. Absolutely. And that's how ingrained this is, folks. So when I say this is happening again today, what I'm trying to avoid is you having that historian saying, well, of course this ended up in a worldwide conflict. That's where we're going with this. The idea of what would happen, why Hamas attacked Israel when they did, as brutally as they did, how they did, had everything to do with Putin and Iran trying to start a conflict in this region to interfere with the shipping on the Silk Road. It had nothing to do with the Palestinians. They don't care about the Palestinians. They've never cared about the Palestinians. Hamas's leadership, to give you an idea how much they care, remember I told you they couldn't be touched in Qatar. Benaloco says, on behalf of Bonnie Wilbank, happy Fun Day Sunday. Hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Benaloco. I appreciate you. To give you some idea how much the leadership of Hamas cares about the Palestinian people, they were living in their palaces in Qatar. And I told you, as long as they were in Qatar, that was like, Papa Midnight's bar out of the Constantine movie. Nobody's allowed to engage in conflict in Qatar. And I'm about to get to why that was so important. Remember that, put a pin in that point. Qatar went to the leaders, the billionaire leaders of Hamas, and said, get the fuck out. You broke the rules. You waged a war from Qatar. Get out. And they ejected them. The leadership of Hamas is no longer in their palaces in Doha, Qatar. They aren't. They're in Algeria now. They're living in the frickin' desert in Algeria. If you want to know where Algeria is, it's a Russian-controlled country. Let's go to the map. We have time. Thank you for sticking with me through this, folks. This is important. This is Algeria. They're in Algiers right now, hiding for their lives. Yahya Sinwar. You wonder why they gave control of Hamas over to Yahya Sinwar? He was nobody. The leaders that have run Hamas traditionally, they're billionaires, man. They got bucks. Yahya Sinwar was nobody compared to them. How did he end up with control of Hamas? He's not particularly appealing. Nobody likes him. They set him up to die. This has been planned with Russia since the invasion of Iraq. Yahya Sinwar is absolutely set up to die. You know who's not in Algeria right now? Hiding out? Yahya Sinwar. He's hiding in tunnels in Gaza, in a tunnel in South Gaza under Khan Yunis. And the IDF are rooting him out right now. Yeah. But folks, I am not anti-Palestinian. I believe that the Palestinian people, and until we solve that problem, we will always have a problem. But it is a small portion of this picture, and I want you to see the big picture of it. And this is why I quit advocating for the two-state solution. All of that had nothing to do with hating Palestinians. It doesn't. If you really want to help the Palestinians, you have to understand the big picture. You do. And the same troll accounts that I saw go active, this is important. The same troll accounts that I saw go active on October 7th have now gone active. Khaleesi, this is a huge one. Let me read this to you. Yemen has done the impossible, talking about the Houthi terrorists in Yemen. MSC, CMA, and CGM are the world's largest shipping companies. They've announced that they will not sail through the Red Sea. This is a massive blow to logistics lines and a rise in inflation to be expected in Israel. They're going to try to tie this to Israel again because they got so many people to be anti-Semitic and hateful here. They're going to try to make this about Israel again. And it's not. This is global. It's like I said, they've lost the plot. They have lost the plot. But no, it does not stop there. This is just, I mean, if you will do a search, go to XChan. I'm asking you after the show, go to XChan, do a search for Red Sea, and you will see the same exact accounts that were pressing the Hamas loving pro-Palestinian views are absolutely pushing the pro-Houthi view as though it's anti-Israel and it's a victory. It has nothing to do with Israel. Here again, you got another one here. Let me read it to you. Yemen have done it. MSC, the world's largest shipping company, has announced they will no longer travel through the Red Sea. The world's largest shipping and transport companies, the French CMA, CGM, Danish Maersk, and German Hapag-Lloyd, have all suspended Red Sea journeys. Woohoo! They have no idea the mistake that they have just made. They have no idea the mistake they have just made. All of Europe and us in the United States, we're all pushing on Israel to not be cruel. Don't be this. All of that has just been washed away. No one will be looking at the Palestinians after this. No one. This was a horrible, horrible miscalculation on Iran's part and Putin's part. They had control of the narrative and they just lost it. But you can just scroll down and just see account after account here that are screaming what a great thing this is that Houthis have done. And they're all trying to say, oh, it's going to hurt Israel. That's why it's a good thing. It's going to hurt Israel. No, friends, you just screwed with the Silk Road. You just helped Putin try to undercut the European economy is what you did. But yeah, Abu Obaida here is one of the biggest propaganda pushers that we've seen about the whole Palestinian. He's got a Palestinian flag here. You see he's got a Palestinian flag here. He's huge. People on TikTok quote him all the time. Abu Obaida. Yemeni is the boss of the Red Sea. The lion, the general is the Houthis. He doesn't speak English very well. Here you have Michael Weingarten. Here's another one that is Yemen Houthis celebrate at the sight of burning cargo ships in the Red Sea. They're all celebrating this, folks. This is not a racist thing. You think it would be with the depiction. It's not. It's actually from a pro-Houthi, pro-Palestinian. You see the Palestinian flag here. Nadir Ali, Yemen is the boss of the Red Sea. But yeah, I'd like you to go take a look. Go to yeah, I don't know what you did with the settings, but you mind taking that off the screen? Thanks. Go to XChan and see what they're pushing. They have lost the plot. They have lost the plot. These are the same people that were pushing the anti-Israel stuff. That's why, even though I still give a damn about the Palestinian people, I didn't jump on because I know the big picture. I could see how it was tied to Ukraine. I can see how the Houthis are tied to Ukraine and what's going on in Russia, what's going on. One second. There we go. Now you can see me. But yeah, folks, it's not something that we didn't see. It's not something that we didn't see coming, because we have. I want to assure you, this is not going to work. It's going to bring swift retribution, but it's not going to work. And this is why, like I said, MSC has been working on getting around the Red Sea. They have. This has been going on for so long that these companies, MSC, Maersk, Hapag-Lloyd, all of them have been looking for different routes. And the Saudi Arabians, this will explain a lot as to why they've been putting up with so much crap from Saudi Arabia. These are the things that are going on that the news don't talk to you about. When they tell you about these events that are going on, they just, they show you the shiny objects to get the clicks and stuff like that, but they don't give you the full picture. This is what's been going on. This is your way around. You see this? Starts in the United Arab Emirates. This is the Persian Gulf. This goes around through the United Arab Emirates. Here's Bahrain, another highway through Saudi Arabia, protected by Saudi Arabia, that goes through Jordan to the port of Haifa in Israel. Nothing has to be shipped through the Red Sea. This accounts for about a week of time. That is less time that will be added if they have to try to sail around the Horn of Africa. So perishable goods, they've already been pushing this. They're already doing this. And I know what you're saying. So, well, the Persian Gulf, doesn't that put it right by Iran? Absolutely it does. But it is a very different thing, folks. It is a very different thing to support Houthi rebels than it is to actually directly attack shipping. Iran might be the entire eastern part of the Persian Gulf, but they will not touch a single container ship that goes through the Persian Gulf. They will not. That will directly mean war. So yeah, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar absolutely ejected the leadership of Hamas out because they want in on this deal. They want the port of Doha to be the new entry point for the Silk Road into the Arabian Peninsula. That's the big picture, folks. That is the big picture of what you see going on here. You have the war in Ukraine, in which Russia is faltering. They're collapsing because of their foolish war in Ukraine. There's that old saying, if you come for the king, you better not miss. In this case, Russia, Vicky H., will NATO send ships to the Red Sea along with us? They're already there. They're already there. The British have ships there. The Israelis have ships there. We have ships there. Everybody, they're through the Gulf of Aden, the straits there at the bottom. It's the Bab el Mandab Strait at the bottom of the Red Sea. You could jump from Navy vessel to Navy vessel to Navy vessel and not get your feet wet. I mean, there is such a naval presence there. And like I said, this is not new, folks. You're getting this in the news today. This is what's breaking today. Anthony Blinken has been working on this for months. We've known about this problem for months. The English, the French, everybody has been involved in this for months. And this was a red line. Putin has shot his shot. The Houthis have said, we are going to end shipping in the Red Sea. And I assure you, the powers that be have said, oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. Deborah Cornish says, please help me understand, why has the USA given money to Israel for decades now? Why? What does Israel do for our country? Why have we tolerated Netanyahu? Why? That's going to be it, folks. They're going to try to keep this about Israel. It's not. It's about Russia. It's not about Israel. This is just a small little peephole in the problem. That's it. And to answer your question, Israel's been a staunch ally of the United States. And that graphic I just showed you, that highway that is going to run through the Arabian Peninsula, starts in the United Arab Emirates, it starts in Bahrain, and it starts in Qatar. It goes through Saudi Arabia. That's why we put up with so much nonsense from Saudi Arabia. Goes through Saudi Arabia and ends at the port of Haifa in Israel. All of those countries are working together. All of them. That's what's really happening in the news, that the news should be telling you, but they're not. They're not. That's not what the news is anymore. It's shiny objects, and how can I make you feel sad? And, you think 2.5 million Palestinians are what's important in this equation? You're talking about half the world's population is affected by this. Yeah. I hate to tell you this, but your whole Palestinian crisis just disappeared like a fart in a hurricane. But yeah, folks, what does this mean going forward? Old Longboard asks, Texas Paul, why do you think we haven't seen a bunch of retaliatory strikes against the Houthi missile positions? That's what's coming. That's what the news is about today. It's to prepare you for that. That's what the Russian trolls are doing. That's why I want you to go to XChan, and I want you to do a search for the Red Sea. PSYOPs is war, folks. This happened on October 7th. They're trying another PSYOP again. They're trying to make what's going to happen to the Houthis tied to the Palestinians. Oh, the Houthis were fighting for the Palestinians. They were sending drones and they were attacking Israel. That's why they're being attacked. Israel. Ugh. It has nothing to do with Israel. It has nothing to do with Israel. It has everything to do with the world economy and what Vladimir Putin is trying to do. He is desperately trying to hold on to power by any means necessary. And he miscalculated badly. This is not going to discourage. This is not going to discourage Europe in their support of Ukraine. This is going to absolutely harden them in their support of Ukraine. Deborah Cornett, do we know what faction is funding the Houthis? Iran. All of those drones they're using to attack shipping, those come straight out of Iran. The technology to build those drones came straight out of Russia. And this is why I love you people. This is why I love you people. I'm sitting here answering a question. Y'all are answering it in chat also. RC, here's to you, my brother. Hope your coffee's as good as mine today. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Y'all understand. Do you know how hard it is to talk to people about this on TikTok? I mean, people that their first foray into foreign policy has been this whole Palestinian thing. These kids trying to explain to them how that's related to the war in Ukraine and Russia, and they don't get it. They don't get it. All they can see is they saw some clips on the news about the Palestinian babies, and they cannot see the big picture. And they don't realize that they're props. They're being used as props. They're cannon fodder. They're being used as cannon fodder by the Arabs. They're being used by the cannon fodder. And folks, you know, you ask yourself, why didn't this blow up? You know, don't the Arabs hate Israel? That's why. I just showed you the map. I just showed you where the highways, the shipping highways run. They run from the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Qatar. Those are going to be the three of the largest ports in the world now. Through the Arabian Peninsula, protected by Saudi Arabia with United States weapons, all the way through Jordan. Jordan's been exceedingly quiet through this whole thing. Through Jordan, they will be protected by the Jordanian government, all the way to the port of Haifa in Israel, and that will be your new expressway for the Silk Road, for goods coming out of Asia, China, India, Vietnam, Indonesia. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. That's why you didn't see as much as Putin desperately tried with Iran to cause a regional conflict. That's why nobody, not the Egyptians, not the Jordanians, not the Saudis, nobody. They all said the same thing. U.S., slap a damn rain on Israel so this doesn't, piss off our people too badly. We've been preaching this anti-Israel hate for a long time. Y'all got to tamp this shit down so that we can sell this. We don't want things blowing up. Business, baby. Business. But yes, folks, I don't sugarcoat things for you. I tell you the way they are. This is going to be war. This is going to be jolly green giants on the ground in Yemen. Absolutely. They're not going to just let this happen. They aren't. I assure you right now, there are ships filled with ordnance steaming their asses off across the Atlantic, making their way to support our carrier groups. Remember the Eisenhower carrier group? The Gerald R. Ford carrier group? Yeah, they're there. They are going to engage in combat operations in Yemen. What you are going to see online is this narrative. Pay close attention. The Houthis helped the Palestinians. Therefore, the global cabal led by Israel and the Jews has forced Joe Biden to attack the Houthis. I promise you, I assure you, 100%, that is the narrative that they're going to try to spin on social media. Any questions? Any thoughts at all? I know I've talked for a straight hour on a subject, and that could make your eyes glaze over sometimes. And I hope I didn't lose you at all. But I hope you're getting it. How it's all, that entire access in that part of the world is all interconnected. Any questions about Africa? Jared Lewis says, right now, Russia is trying to force America to abandon Israel, and then they would use that against America. Yeah, they are. They really are. They're trying to create a situation in the next election because if the Republicans get power, folks, let's talk about this in our own political dynamic. If the Republicans get power, Putin absolutely wins here. Putin and Iran are the two biggest winners if the Republicans gain power. 100%. Let's go back to the map here, just in Africa. I'll give you a perfect example. The country of Chad. Not a lot of people know things about Chad. Chad is an amazing country right here, dead center. You've got the Russians and Wagner Group in Sudan, Central Africa, Mali, and Algeria. What's in the middle here? Chad and Niger. Chad specifically. The military in Chad, let me blow this up. The military in Chad is top notch, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. God, I love you people, Flatlander. God, I love you people. Chad was a French colony. Absolutely it was. They have great relations with France. Chad has access to Western weapons. They have access to Western training. Chad has a non-commissioned officer corps in their military. That's why Russia collapsed, because it's all about the officers in the Russian military hierarchy. It's all about the officers. They don't have non-coms. They don't have sergeants that run things. They don't. Chad does. Chad has a professional military that knows how to engage in military operations. This is Chad right here, folks. This is Chad. Okay. It is the greatest stabilizing force in Africa there is. During the Trump administration, our relationship with Chad went south. It was just completely soured. It wasn't, it was a blip on the news. It was half a day in the news cycle, but it was one of the most important events to happen in the world was us losing favor with Chad. Thank God under Joe Biden, we've repaired that relationship. But you want to talk about stopping genocide and why Chad is so important? People, you got a bunch of kids throwing the word genocide around. Genocide. Okay, here's Chad. Here's Sudan. This is Darfur. I know you've heard that word before. This whole region right here, where I'm moving this cursor, this is Darfur. You've heard about the genocide in Darfur, right? Millions of people have died because of Russian destabilization. Chad absorbed those refugees. Chad was the stabilizing feature in that entire thing that helped prevent this from being just as awful as it possibly could be. So yeah, be mindful of the news. And please, I am serious when I ask you, please go to XChan, search Red Sea after this is over, and scroll down and see all of the accounts that were troll accounts pushing the misinformation, all of the Hamas statistics and stuff, trying to inflame what was going on in Gaza into a regional conflict. They couldn't get it done. And you have to ask yourself, folks, you know what? Let me go back to the map for one more thing. And when I talk about trolls and Russia using trolls, Russia is the predominant force in Sudan. Sudan has a port on the Red Sea. They're building a Russian military base right here, a Russian naval base right here. You see Port of Sudan? They're building a Russian military base about right here where this dip is, where my cursor is. Why isn't Russia interfering with shipping directly? That's what we're talking about, folks. That's why I have to tell you, please be mindful of psychological operations. Please be mindful. And yeah, Trinalanga, people who claim to care about the Palestinians don't give a shit if their bottom line is at risk. True, absolutely. You know, people have been trying to tell, oh, but you're a racist, Paul. You hate the Palestinians. I don't hate the Palestinians. I don't. It's really hard to be Palestinian and have a world view right now. I mean, you're shit on by the Egyptians, you're shit on by the Jordanians, you're shit on by the Syrians, you're shit on by the the Lebanese. The Israelis don't use you for anything but slave frickin' labor. Yeah, your world view is pretty frickin' tunnelized right now, and the Palestinian people don't know that these organizations like Palestinian is. You know, I'll give Palestinian Islamic Jihad this much. They're true believers. They're really fighting for the Palestinians. They are. Not like Hamas. Hamas just sold the Palestinian people to Putin. They did. Thanks for the support. And that doesn't help the Palestinian people. It doesn't help the Palestinian people at all. If you want to help the Palestinian people, you're not going to get it from the UN. They've been making money hand over fist off the Palestinians. All these NGOs, you know, that whole phrase, open air prison, came from an NGO. All they're doing is collecting money on the backs of Palestinians. I've been screaming this for years, people. The Kurds are the same way. The only difference is NGOs haven't figured out how to monetize the Kurds yet. I'm telling you, it's going to take somebody like Joe Biden. It is to finally help out the Palestinians. It is, because I guarantee you the Republicans are plenty pleased just to use them as pawns. They are. Same thing with the Jewish people. The Republicans are using them for props right now. And you see why now. You have no excuse. You have no excuse. You have seen the big picture. You have seen what I've been looking at. You know, I read about what's going on in Djibouti so that you don't have to. I read about what's going on in Eritrea so you don't have to. You don't even have to find these places on the map. Just understand right now, the Russians have been utilizing Africa to rape it for resources for years, and they've been utilizing it to fight proxy wars to try to destabilize the West. And they've taken their shot. And the Republicans are more than happy to cut off funding to Ukraine to try to save Putin. They are. They're telling you to your face. They're more than happy to. And we can't let it happen, folks. And it's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not going to happen. Because if we withdrew 100% of our support for Ukraine, the Europeans aren't. They're still going to support Ukraine because this war happens in their backyard. Ask Trina Langa. Ask our friends from Norway. Ask our friends from Finland. Ask. We've got the best audience in the world. They know what happens. Oh, and you know what? One more thing. I'm trying to draw so that you can see these events, these clusters in the world in different places, how they're all tied together. Something else just happened. And why you're seeing the troll farms in St. Petersburg and Indonesia just go so hot and heavy for the Houthis right now. Sorry, I left myself muted. Sorry, my bad. I left myself muted. Took a sip of coffee. Sorry. We're not muted anymore. Let's go back to the map. I want you to understand this. I want you to understand the region that we're talking about. This event just happened. This was a triggering event to what is going on in the Red Sea. What has been happening in the Red Sea has been going on, but right now what you're seeing differently is you're seeing the Houthis have made the announcement that this is business as usual from now on. They are going to be attacking all the shipping in the Red Sea, and that is what's caused the major shipping companies to back off. There was a trigger event for this, and I want you to see what this is. Sorry about the muting. Thank you, honey, for running in and telling me I was muted. I'm looking at the map. I can't even see StreamYard or you guys for just a second. So forgive me. Forgive me for technical issues like that. When I'm talking on the map and pointing things out on the map, I am not looking at the broadcast software. So, all right. Here's Israel. Here's Gaza. Here's where they were trying to start that region-wide conflict to interfere with the Silk Road shipping. They couldn't do it. They've had the Yemeni, the Houthis, the terrorists out of Yemen, and the Somalis try to interfere with shipping here in the Gulf of Aden, and this is the Bab el Mandeb Strait right here. Okay, this is Sudan. This is where the Russian naval base is. Now, that is that section. That is what's going on there. It is not unrelated. Let's take a look. We'll back the map out. Go north. Here's Ukraine. Due north of what we're talking about, just north of the Black Sea. This is where the war in Ukraine is happening, in this area right here. This area right here. Something happened that triggered the Houthis to make their declaration that they will be attacking this shipping, which caused these shipping companies to say, okay, that's it, enough is enough. And what happened is, we'll back out just a little bit and go north. Here's Moscow. Here's St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg is the headquarters for the Wagner Group. This is where the offices are, where their trolls are, where they engage in psyops. Okay? I'm going to zoom in for you now on St. Petersburg. This is St. Petersburg. This is the home of the Wagner Group. When you see Russian misinformation pumped through X-Chan, pumped through TikTok, pumped through Snapchat, it originates here. It's coordinated here in St. Petersburg at the headquarters of the Wagner Group. Finland, who has no love for Russians, has just announced, day before yesterday, they are entering into a security agreement with us in the United States for us to directly put troops and equipment in Finland. This is within sight of St. Petersburg, folks. This is within sight. This is Murmansk. This is Russia's most critical naval base. This is where all of their nuclear submarines are developed and come out of, Murmansk. This puts us literally a hop, skip, and a jump from everything critical Russia has militarily. And that is what triggered what's going on, what is going on today with the Houthis. Absolutely, Paul. Yeah, Murmansk, that's their main subbase. That is their main subbase. That agreement between Finland puts us directly, us, the United States, not NATO, us, Jolly Green Giants and Abrams tanks, literally on the border of Russia. You remember, Putin said, well, this is just, we want Ukraine as a buffer between us. We are literally sitting on the border. God, I love you people. I love you people. Yes, it will be signed tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, Monday, business. Everything gets back to business on Monday. So yeah, way to go, Joe. Way to go, Joe. Anthony Blinken's been working his ass off, and that's why I've got to say, and that's what I want to wrap this whole thing up with. That's what I want to wrap this whole thing up with. All of these events are not unrelated. All of these events are driving what's going on in the Republican Party. The Republican Party is absolutely the party of Putin. They are. Preacher Johnson may stand up and give some lip service and say, well, we support Ukraine, but we're just not getting enough information, when he's getting all the information, when the State Department briefs him, the CIA briefs him, the military briefs him. They absolutely know everything that goes on in Ukraine. They do. 100%. That's a lie. They are supporting Putin because Putin is crumbling because of his idiotic war in Ukraine. Silverthing Tree says Biden can take the Russian seized funds of $6.1 billion and give it to Ukraine. Pro-Putin would be, global community would be happy, win-win. Those are the kind of things, yes, that you're going to start see happening. You are. This, I have to tell you, this is our well, of course, moments from the historians. When they say, well, of course, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Look at what was going on with the oil. Well, of course, Germany, supported a strong man and became the imperial power, the colonizing imperial power that it did, because look what we did to them after World War I. Well, of course. This is our well, of course moment. They screwed with the Silk Road. They did. And the repercussions are always a large global conflict when that happens. It does. It just is, folks. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Who are we going to support going forward? Because I assure you right now, as I am talking to you, trolls are pumping misinformation out. Trolls are pumping misinformation out on social media. You are going to see more Palestinian flags than you've seen since October 7th happened. You just are. That's going to be the narrative. Oh, the Houthis support the Palestinians, and Joe Biden, you can't vote. You can't vote for genocide, Joe. Look at him just supporting that genocide because he's attacking the Houthis. No, they're protecting the Silk Road trade. And when you're the largest, when you are a world power, that's your job. That's your job. What do you think we have that military for? It is to support trade. And the Houthis screwed up. The Iranians screwed up. The Russians screwed up. Putin has lost his mind. He is in desperate straits. And this was a bad miscalculation, folks. It was. It was a bad miscalculation. Yeah, I have to be, actually. I don't want to be on XChan. Yeah, Quesadillas, are you still on Twitter, Texas Paul? Yes, I am. I am. Because Threads will not give me a fully functioning media player. I can't use the videos on Threads. I have to find something interesting. On my daily, I use Threads. I do. But when I find a subject, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to go over to XChan, find it on XChan so that I can pull it up and get a fully functioning media player so that when I want to show you a clip, I can start it, I can stop it, I can do everything I need to do with it. If I use Threads, it just runs automatically and I can't control it. So yeah, until Threads gets its act together, I have to keep using XChan. So let's do some roundtable. We've got some time left. Let's get those comments out there and questions. I know this was complicated. They are 100% Stargal. They are 100% on the side of Russia. They are. And they're telling you to your face. Russia is a state sponsor of terrorism. They are. They're collapsing. They're going into a cycle of hyperinflation. Is Putin paying the Houthis through Iran? Yeah. Iran is paying them through Iranian oil money, and Russians are the ones that give the Iranians all their technology. So, yes. Where's Navalny? MedUSA, I'm going to wager he's a dead man. They took him out of prison and they murdered him. That's what I believe happened. Nobody's been able to find Navalny for weeks. He just disappeared out of the prison camp he was being kept in. And I believe Putin is in a full-on panic, and I think he killed Navalny. I hope I'm wrong. What about the Saudis? Yeah. Everybody has been saying, why are we putting up with the Saudis? Why are we putting up with the Saudis? Their human rights are terrible. They're on the wrong side. They're constantly siding with Putin and all of that nonsense. Why are we putting up with the Saudis? That map I just showed you. The Saudis are absolutely the land bridge that we have to cross now that we're not using the Red Sea anymore. They've agreed to utilize the weapons we sell them to protect that trade from terrorists. And nobody's going to do it. Nobody is going to screw with the Saudis. They aren't. They just aren't. So, yeah. You wonder why we didn't go after Salman, for killing Khashoggi. Mohammed bin Salman for killing Khashoggi. That's why. Because nothing outweighs trade. Nothing outweighs trade. Yeah, and Putin absolutely did kill a reporter that was reporting on the corruption in his government. 100%. Yes, we do need to vote out Republicans. Plain and simple. Sherry Foster says, I lost you, Sherry. I didn't get to read it, but yeah, she said we need to vote out Republicans. We need to vote out Republicans, plain and simple. Yes, absolutely, Sherry Foster. You're 100% right. You're 100% right with that. That's what we have to do because they're telling you to your face. No more money for Ukraine. And they're literally using, I've played you 2 shows in a row, the video of JD Vance absolutely using the talking points that the Wagner PSYOPs teams are pushing out on social media. JD Vance, a member of the Republican Party, is saying that we're sending money to Ukraine when we're not sending cash to Ukraine. We're sending arms to Ukraine. But they're using that, what little money we actually do send them to try to keep their economy propped up, to buy yachts, to buy luxury houses. The Republicans are repeating those talking points. And yes, Derek, sunlight is the best disinfectant. It is. Absolutely, Cindy. The DOJ needs to get off the pot and convict insurrectionists in Congress. Absolutely. But folks, that's not easy. Civil wars happen. They really do happen. And these movements, Putin's not doing anything in a vacuum. He does it with a psyop at the same time. The DOJ can't just start convicting politicians. They have to build a narrative in the public for it first. And right now, Russia is running a counteroffensive for them as much as they possibly can. I didn't get to read that one before it got taken down, but sorry about that. My producer's impatient. What will happen? Noah C., great question. What will happen once the GOP completely loses power? Will they change their evil ways? No, they will not. But what will happen? We are a government designed to be a two-party system. That's what our government is designed to do. When the Republican Party is defeated and marginalized out of existence, another party, an opposition party, a party counter to the Democrats will prop up in its place. Because let me tell you what's going to happen, folks. We Democrats, when we seize power, we're going to do what every other party does. We're going to go too far. We just are. Without checks and balances, we're going to go too far. And when we do, an opposition party will gain power because of it. That's the way democracies work. Democracies rarely run that straight path. They meander back and forth. We've been moving hard right, hard right, hard right, hard right. The Republicans have gone too far. They've lost the plot. They're out there in, anti-abortion, hating women, religious radicalism territory, and they're going to be destroyed because of it. They saw it coming. Lindsey Graham said it himself. If we make Donald Trump our nominee, we will be destroyed as a party, and we will deserve it. That was straight out of Lindsey Graham's mouth. They knew it. When it happens, what will happen here in the United States? Democrats will have super majorities, we'll have extreme power, and we'll make mistakes. I mean, it's like California. California is a beautiful, wonderful place. But every once in a while, man, the government just gets stupid and goes too far and makes regulations that are just dumb and pisses people off. That's where your opposition parties rise from. And that's what will happen here. That's what will happen here. We'll get some great things done for a long time, but we will go too far. We will. And then the checks and balances will kick in. Thank you, John Gomez. That was perfect. Checks and balances. I hope that answers your question. Forgive me for staring down. I'm reading your comments. Terry Taylor, the media hasn't gotten the memo yet, nor do they seem to care that legitimizing the fascist GOP is bad for democracy. Right. Because no one ever believes it's going to get as bad as it gets. No one ever believes it's going to get as bad as it gets. You know, the industrialists in Germany thought, well, we'll throw the Jews under the bus and we'll help Hitler, but we'll control the guy. He needs us. Nope. You've got the billionaire frat boy club thinking the same thing about Trump. That's why you've got so many notable billionaires are like, don't elect that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because people have seen this act before. And the press, they're not looking at big picture here. They're not. They're looking at their profits today. The corporate media is a for-profit entity now. All they care about is making their expectations to the shareholders. That's what they care about. And if it means showing shiny objects like Trump telling the entire world that he wants to be a fascist, so be it. So be it. They don't care. That's not what they're here to care for. They're not realizing that the minute Trump gets into power, the first thing that goes is them. They all think they're going to be the one guy left standing that's going to be Trump's guy. Yeah, ask Maggie Haberman about that. Trump just called her Maggot Haberman. She has been sucking Trump's taint from the beginning. Since 2016, she has been writing puff pieces for him in the New York Times. He just called her Maggot Haberman because she disagreed with him once. They all think that they're going to be special. Thank you for the support, Cecilia. I really appreciate you. I really do. Exactly, Corey. Exactly. I live in California. Even us Democrats don't agree with all the stuff that gets done here. Exactly. Exactly. Right now, what you have in California is that you have a Democratic Party that puts checks on itself. You know, the Democrats say, you know, screw you guys. They do. They put checks on themselves, but it's not enough. And that's why every once in a while we get a frickin' Arnold Schwarzenegger and Pete Wilson that come along and remind everybody how bad it is when Republicans are in charge. That's the way democracy meanders. Look at my home state of Texas, 25 years of Republican rule, and people are getting enough. I want to make an announcement, by the way. When I tell you I don't waste your money, I don't waste your money. I went out and bought something. We own a website now called voteenoughisenough.com. Go click on it. Go click on it. See who owns that site now. Voteenoughisenough.com. We're going to do something with that. We're going to make a difference. I'm envisioning a nexus where candidates can get together with you folks. When you folks say, "Hey, what are we going to do? You know, how are we going to turn Texas blue? What are we going to do?" I'm envisioning a website that is a nexus where we can take candidates that want to put their information out there. Hey, I need volunteers to phone bank. Hey, I need volunteers to write postcards. I need volunteers to door knock. And you can go and you can look for candidates in your area and go directly to them and be tied together, and you guys can handshake and we can get you all engaged in the process. That's what I'm looking at. right now. I'm thinking that's the way we're going to go. I'm going to try to get it up and running and ready to go after the primary, so we can support candidates, and and try to make it easy for you folks to be involved. It shouldn't be hard for you to be involved. It shouldn't be, hundreds of candidates all over the country vying for your attention, trying to say, "Hey, pay attention to me. I need your help." There should be a website that you can go to that just says, "Hey, this is where you're needed." Tadaripa says, "We just need to do all our work, stump for representatives, rep you President Biden, go TV with PACs, etc." Yeah, exactly. And none of this crap, man. I want to take you back. Let's jump in the Wayback Machine and go back. 2016, going into 2016, there were a lot of good people that were anti-Hillary Clinton. There were a lot of good people that were very pro-Bernie. A lot of good people felt like, hey, you know what? We need to teach this Democratic Party a lesson. They're taking us for granted. They're not hearing us. That got us Brett Kavanaugh. That got us Neil Gorsuch. That got us Amy Coney Barrett. That got us Donald Trump. That got us a highly inflated Putin, who is now endangering the world, and our soldiers are going to have to go fight now because of that. We're not sitting out in 2024. We're not. Greg Edmonds says, thank the Young Turks for that. Yes, absolutely. I hate the Young Turks. I do not like the Young Turks. I do not. I despise them. They try to seem clever. Oh, look how smart I am because I'm just too good for the Democratic Party. No, buddy. No. I'm a ride or die Democrat. I am. I fight for good things within my party. I do. I don't agree with everything my party does. I don't. But I know that the Democratic Party is the way forward. It's the only governing party in this country that actually gives a shit about the American people. And there will be no more Bernie bros. There will be no more, well, I'm just, I just don't like her emails. None of that has happened in this election. Not the Palestinians, nobody, nothing, nobody, not the Houthis, none of the stuff that's coming through on social media, none of it. It's all saying the same thing. Don't vote for Joe Biden. Bullshit. Be a ride or die Democrat. Get it done. Elections have consequences. Thank you, Tamara. I love you people, man. We are always just right there. Elections have consequences. Tamara Gatesford nailed it. They do. So yeah, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at what happened. Let's take a look at what happened. A lot of people said the Democratic Party only gives me 80% of what I want. And they're not hearing me on the other 20%. Time to teach them a lesson so they come my way. That got you Brett Kavanaugh. That got you Amy Coney Barrett. That got you Neil Gorsuch. That got women having to let tissue rot in their bellies until they are in critical condition to get health care in this country. That's what you did. That's what you did. I don't blame the Republicans for that. I don't. I really don't. We outnumber the Republicans. We did that. We did that. We took our eye off the ball. We took our eye off the ball. We got really comfortable. We did. We got really comfortable. And we said, my one issue is that important. Don't matter, I'm getting 95% of everything I want. That issue is all that matters. You may not want to hear it, but I'm here to tell you, You caused these restrictions on abortion. You did. You took the rights away from women. Republicans told you the whole time that they were going to do that. They told you the whole damn time. They're telling you now that they're going to be fascists. They're telling you right now to your face that we're running the 2025 project. We're going to undercut all your institutions, and we're going to make a government completely with 100% fealty to our Republican Party. Period. They're telling you to your face. And you still got dumb sons of bitches talking about Genocide Joe. I'm not voting because of the Palestinians. Friends, I've advocated for the Palestinians for decades. You ain't helping them out. You're ending them is what you're doing. Because I 100% assure you, Trump is not going to help out the Palestinians. Trump loves Netanyahu. But please don't take my word for it. Go do a search on the XChan for Red Sea and see that the exact same accounts have gone active again. They're the accounts that are pumping out the stuff straight out of St. Petersburg. That's where it gets designed. That's where the templates are created. That's where they study the psychology of it. They study us. They study us constantly. B. Sanders, dance with the one that brung you. Amen, brother. Amen. Tam Jewell says, Putin started the Israeli conflict. He got Hamas to attack to help Trump and destroy Joe. And it's so sick to kill people to get the fascists to take over the country. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He invited Hamas to Russia not a month before the attack. Folks, there were years of peace. Things were moving in the right direction. There were a few minor skirmishes. Egypt had brokered a ceasefire. It was working. It was working. It was Russia and all of Russia. And Russia doesn't care. Russia doesn't care about anything but Russia. Whenever Russia takes over a country, they rape it. They rape its resources. They screw over its people. They just, that's just the way it works. Paul Young asks, where's the binder? Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's been on the news the last couple of days also. We had a binder on Putin that had sources and means, critical information that we couldn't allow to fall in the hands of Russia, disappeared. Just disappeared from the Trump White House. The last testimony was that Mark Meadows was seen leaving the White House with it during the whole Russia Mueller investigation thing. Nordes Rodriguez, do you think Meadows might have burned it in his fireplace? No, I don't. I think that kind of information is priceless. And I think that he took it, and I think Trump demanded it, and I think Trump handed it over. I do. I think it was one of those things that was given away at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, that's a pretty, a lot of people believe that he buried stuff in Ivana's grave. And if you want to see what a worthless piece of crap he is, go Google what Ivana's grave looks like right now. Oh, yeah. That was something else, too, that popped up I want to talk about for a second. Trump gave a speech yesterday, day before yesterday, that hit the news cycle yesterday, where he was talking about how immigrants poison the blood of our country. And I have to tell you something, I absolutely agreed with him for a change. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. I did not just say something anti-immigrant. Trump's children are all the children of immigrants. Ivana was an immigrant. Tiffany is the only one that's not the child of an immigrant. Tiffany. Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Barron are all the children of immigrants. Melania, Ivana, both immigrants. And in this one case, he is absolutely right. The children of immigrants are poisoning our country because those kids are poisoning our country. Can't attack Barron. Can't do it. Can't attack Barron. I can't. Kid may be great. I don't know yet. His mom isn't very great. His mom hates Christmas. Christmas. Y'all all made fun of Rocky and Bullwinkle. But you listen to old Melania talk and tell me that is not Natasha. Christmas. Yeah, tell me you're not rich and privileged when you say something like, who gives a fuck about Christmas? I do. Yeah, she did. If I was ever president of the United States, that's what I would do. I would restore to the plant Jackie Kennedy's Rose Garden. I think the American people would absolutely support that spending. MurderCon, I just want to know, are you trolling here or are you saying that's what they said? Because that's absolutely what the Christian nationalists are saying right now. Christmas is a pagan religion. Christmas has no place in America. It's a Christian nation, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Are you trolling there? Are you trolling the Christian nationalists? Not sure. Give me some clarification there. But yeah, Christmas was Saturnalia before it was Christmas. That's why I don't do Abrahamic religions, folks. I don't do Judaism. I don't do Islam, and I don't do Christianity. I don't. I have invented my own religion. It is the Church of Science and Humanity. I believe that there's a creator, but I don't believe he has a Wi-Fi connection to my brain. I don't think he really gives a shit about me or what I do. I believe he created systems that work. We recognize those systems. That's me. That's as far as I'm going to get in a religious discussion with you. But yeah, I don't do Abrahamic religions because all of you wonderful Christian people out there, everything in your book was written in other books and they just lifted it and put it in your book. So there you go. One of the funniest memes I've ever seen, and it's freaking hilarious. There's a pilgrim standing next to an Indian, and he tells the Indian, you know, before we got here, y'all were worshiping the sun. And the Indian responds, dude, the sun is real. Oh my God. That cracks me up every time I see it. Ain't this the truth? Thank you, Thomas Sears. I love you people. I freaking love you people. The only people I know that wage war on Christmas are Christians who believe it is anti-Christian paganism. Actually, the war on Christmas always comes from Fox News and the Christians. You can't celebrate your Christmas the way you want to celebrate it. You can't celebrate it with everybody. You have to celebrate it the way I tell you to celebrate it. And that, my friends, is the war on Christmas. Paul W. says, now the right is having a fit about dancers at the White House. You have to, yeah. Have you folks seen that? I'll dig it up. I'll play it. The video, the Christmas video from the White House. It's amazing. It's amazing. I absolutely love having Joe Biden in the White House. It is so nice having a first lady with class. That was a wonderful video. Did you folks see that video released by the White House? Yeah, I'm muted. I know I'm muted. Hold on. I was looking for a video. Here we go. This is the White House Christmas video. Their damn minds over it. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's a thing, folks, in politics. The Republicans monitor anything good, and then they immediately come out and attack it. It's just what they do. It's just what, even if it's stupid. I mean, nobody can look at that and not just be happy, you know. But if you go to, if you see what Fox News is doing and whatnot, they're just all losing their damn minds about how classless that is. A war on Christmas, folks. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. They're saying that is a war on Christmas. Oh my God. I love being a Democrat. You can just be happy about things. You can just be happy about things. You know, exactly. Brittany Stanley, it's so adorable and full of life. It is. And I love the old jazz, man. I never knew until a few years ago that I was a fan of jazz. You know, I love jazz. Well, yeah. Yeah. The main, you know, you're absolutely right. Crystal Nobody says Republicans are losing their mind because a black woman starts the video. Yeah. Yeah. You know it. I know it. It's just the way they are. It's just the way they are. But yeah, folks, that's the Republican Party in a nutshell. I mean, they're for Putin, they're for chaos, they're for our enemies. They constantly claim to be victimized. They're victimized by that. But could you imagine being victimized by that? Could you imagine being victimized by that? Well, folks, can you believe we did a 2-hour show today? We did a 2-hour show today. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm liking it. We may start doing all our shows 2 hours. Actually thinking about maybe going to 5 days a week also. You folks will have to let me know. Email me, go to texaspaul.com. My email address is there. You can tell me what you think about it. Thinking about going to Sunday through Friday, if you can stand to look at my face that much. And definitely thinking about going to 2-hour shows. Can't start any earlier. The shows start at 10 o'clock because West Coast. I mean, it's 10 o'clock Central. That's 8 in the morning on the West Coast. I mean, that's just not right to do them. So to start a show at 7 a.m., so 10 o'clock is the earliest I can start them so that the West Coast can be here. But I'm actually thinking about going to longer format shows. Y'all will have to let me know what you think about it. Always look forward to hearing from you. Go to texaspaul.com. You can get my email address there. Easy to find. Just click on it. Let me know what you think. Send me an email. Anyways, folks, it's almost noon. I've really enjoyed spending the time with you. It's been a great day. Love talking to you folks. Love how informed you are. Loved how involved you are and how engaged the chat stays. I've seen so many shows where the chat just meanders. I mean, they'll be talking about favorite soda waters. And so you folks are always engaged in the conversation. I'm always glad to have you here. So with that, we are out of time. It is 12 noon. Y'all have a wonderful day. Your football teams are kicking off. Old Texas Paul out.